You check your bank account every single day, sometimes twice. You know exactly how much is in there, down to the cent. You've got budget spreadsheets color-coded by category, and you read personal finance blogs like they're best-selling novels. But here's the thing that's going to sound absolutely insane. All of that might be the exact reason you're still broke. I'm talking about the financial habits that look responsible on the surface, but are secretly destroying your wealth. The ones that make you feel productive while keeping you trapped in the same place year after year. And I've seen this pattern so many times as an accountant that I can spot it within 5 minutes of looking at someone's finances. I spent an embarrassing amount of time analyzing why some of my clients with messy budgets and chaotic systems end up wealthier than my most organized, disciplined clients. And what I found changes everything about how we think about money habits. Here I share financial tips that actually move the needle, not just the ones that feel good. If you've been doing everything right with money but still feel like you're spinning your wheels, make sure to subscribe because we're about to flip everything you thought you knew on its head. Now, before we dive into the habits that are quietly sabotaging you, let me paint you a picture of what I'm actually talking about. You wake up on Monday morning and the first thing you do, even before coffee, is open your banking app. You see that your checking account is exactly where you expected it to be. You feel a little dopamine hit from that confirmation. Throughout the day, you'll check it 2 more times. Not because anything changed, just because. You've got your budget broken down into 17 different categories: groceries, gas, entertainment, pet supplies, Miss Household. You spend 20 minutes every Sunday categorizing last week's transactions. You're proud of this system. It makes you feel like you're in control. But here's what's wild. Despite all this tracking, all this awareness, you have the exact same amount in savings as you did 6 months ago. Or maybe you're the person who refuses to buy the $4 coffee, but somehow justifies the $600 monthly car payment because you need reliable transportation. You'll debate for 15 minutes whether to buy name brand or generic pasta to save 47 cents. But you haven't looked at your insurance rates in 3 years, even though you're probably overpaying by $80 a month. Here's what actually happens when you focus on the wrong money habits. You create what behavioral economists call moral licensing. You do something that feels financially responsible, like checking your account or tracking every expense, and your brain rewards you with a sense of accomplishment. That feeling of accomplishment then gives you permission to ignore the habits that actually matter. It's like spending an hour organizing your sock drawer while your house is on fire. A study from the University of Chicago found that people who track their expenses obsessively are actually less likely to increase their net worth over a 5-year period compared to people who automate their savings and rarely look at their accounts. That sounds completely backwards, right? But here's the thing. Tracking makes you focus on scarcity. Automation makes you focus on systems. Think about it like this. Imagine you're trying to lose weight and you spend all day, every day, stepping on the scale, multiple times. You're aware of every fluctuation, every ounce, but you never actually change what you eat or how much you move. That's what obsessive budget tracking does. It creates the illusion of progress while keeping you stuck in the same patterns. But here's where it gets really interesting. The habits that are actually holding you back aren't the obvious ones like buying too much takeout or having a shopping addiction. Those are visible problems with visible solutions. I'm talking about the invisible habits, the ones that hide behind a mask of responsibility. Let me show you exactly how this works. The first invisible habit is what I call optimization paralysis. You spend so much time researching the perfect savings account, the best credit card rewards program, the ideal investment strategy, that you never actually move money anywhere. You've got $5,000 sitting in a checking account earning nothing because you're still trying to decide between a high-yield savings account with 4.5% APY versus one with 4.6% APY. Meanwhile, you're losing $225 a year in potential interest while you deliberate over what would be a $5 annual difference. I had a client who spent 3 months researching which index fund to invest in. 3 months. He was choosing between funds with expense ratios that differed by 0.03%. For his $10,000 investment, that's a $3 annual difference. While he researched, the market went up 8%. He missed out on $800 in gains to save $3 in fees. This is the financial equivalent of being penny wise and pound foolish, except it's more like being tenth of a penny wise and $1,000 foolish. Now, you might be thinking, but wait, isn't it good to be informed and make educated decisions? And yeah, absolutely. But here's the kicker. Perfect information doesn't exist in personal finance. The best investment strategy isn't the one you spend months researching. It's the one you actually implement today and stick with for 20 years. Here's the part that will blow your mind. The second invisible habit is what I call productive procrastination through learning. You watch finance videos, you read books, you listen to podcasts, you take courses. You know about tax loss harvesting and backdoor Roth conversions and the 4% rule. You could teach a class on compound interest, but your own retirement account, you're contributing 3% because you haven't gotten around to increasing it yet. You're going to do it. You've been going to do it for 8 months. You just need to finish reading that book first. This is where most people completely miss the point. Financial knowledge isn't valuable if it stays theoretical. It's like knowing everything about nutrition and exercise science while eating donuts on your couch. The information doesn't create results. Implementation does. And this is something that will probably surprise you. But the third invisible habit is actually checking your accounts too often. I know this sounds crazy because we're told to know where your money is going and stay on top of your finances. But there's a massive difference between intentional review and anxious monitoring. When you check your balance multiple times a day, you're not gathering new information, you're feeding anxiety. And here's what the research shows. People who check their investment accounts daily are significantly more likely to make emotional decisions that hurt their returns. They sell when they see red numbers. They chase performance when they see gains. They turn long-term investing into short-term gambling. Vanguard did a study of their investors and found that the people who checked their accounts least frequently had returns that were almost 2% higher annually than those who checked constantly. Over 30 years, that 2% difference on a $500,000 portfolio is over $400,000. You literally lose hundreds of thousands of dollars by paying too much attention. But here's where it gets really interesting from a psychology standpoint. These invisible habits persist because they feel productive. Your brain can't tell the difference between useful activity and useless activity if both involve the same domain. Reading about money feels like making progress with money. Checking your account feels like managing your money. Researching investment options feels like investing. It's the same reason people buy gym memberships in January and never go. The act of buying the membership creates a feeling of accomplishment that temporarily satisfies the goal, making the actual behavior change less urgent. Behavioral psychologists call this goal substitution. Your brain substitutes the easy action that signals progress for the hard action that creates progress. Stick with me here because this next part changes everything. The fourth invisible habit is what I call microscope budgeting. You track every dollar, you categorize every purchase, you know exactly how much you spent on groceries versus restaurants last month, but you have no idea what your total net worth is or where you want it to be in 5 years. It's like zooming in so close on a painting that all you see are individual brushstrokes, never stepping back to see the actual image. You're optimizing the wrong variables. Whether you spent $287 or $312 on groceries this month doesn't matter if you have no long-term financial plan. Here's what actually moves the needle: your savings rate, your investment allocation, your major fixed expenses, and your income trajectory. That's it. Those 4 things determine about 95% of your financial outcomes. Everything else is noise. But we spend 95% of our energy on the noise and 5% on what matters, because the noise is easier to control and makes us feel accomplished. Let me show you what I mean with actual numbers. Let's say you make $75,000 a year. If you obsessively track every coffee and manage to save an extra $50 a month through careful budgeting of small purchases, that's $600 a year. Good job. But if you negotiate a 5% raise, that's $3,750 a year. If you increase your savings rate from 10% to 15%, that's another $3,750 a year. If you refinance your mortgage and save 0.5% on interest, that could be $1,500 a year. Those big moves require maybe 5 hours of work total. The micro budgeting requires 5 hours every month. Same time investment. One approach nets you $9,000 annually. The other nets you $600. But guess which one feels more virtuous and controlating? The one that keeps you broke. And here's the part that most people don't realize. The 5th invisible habit is the obsession with beating the system through life hacks and optimization tricks. You're chasing credit card points, you're gaming retail cashback apps, you're buying and returning things to exploit loopholes, you're spending hours hunting for coupon codes. I'm not saying these things don't have value, but I am saying that if you're putting more energy into saving 2% on purchases than you are into earning 20% more income or building actual wealth systems, you've got your priorities backwards. Credit card rewards are dessert, not dinner. They're something you take advantage of while doing the real work, not a strategy in themselves. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what are the actual good habits then? And that's exactly the trap. You're looking for more habits to adopt, more things to do, more ways to feel productive. But here's the thing, the answer isn't more habits, it's fewer, better ones. The people I've seen build actual wealth have 3 habits in common, just 3. They automate their savings on payday so they never see the money. They increase their income intentionally every 1 to 2 years through raises, side projects, or job changes. And they invest consistently in boring, simple index funds without constantly checking or adjusting. That's it. No 17-category budget, no daily account checks, no obsessive research. Just automate, earn more, invest, boring. Everything else is window dressing that makes you feel busy while keeping you stuck. But here's where most people mess this up, and I see it constantly. They hear this and they immediately want to create a complex system for automation. They want to research which automation tools are best. They want to optimize which day of the month to automate. They want to create spreadsheets tracking their automation. Stop. You're doing the thing again. The thing where you turn a simple action into a complex project that feels productive but delays actual implementation. You want to automate your savings? Log into your bank right now. Set up a transfer from checking to savings for the day after your paycheck hits, and forget about it. Done. It should take 3 minutes. You want to increase your income? Update your LinkedIn. Document your accomplishments from the past year and schedule coffee with someone in your industry who makes more than you. That's an hour of work. Then have one conversation every month with your boss about taking on more responsibility. Not complicated. You want to start investing? Open a Roth IRA with any major brokerage. Set up automatic monthly contributions. Buy a target date fund or total market index fund, and then don't look at it for a year. 30 minutes of setup. The whole transformation from broke to building wealth is probably 5 hours of focused work on the right things, followed by patience and consistency. But instead, most people spend 5 hours a week on the wrong things for years and wonder why nothing changes. Here's what I've realized after watching hundreds of people navigate their finances. The habits that make you feel the most responsible are often the ones keeping you poor. The habits that feel uncomfortable and passive are often the ones that build wealth. And that's a hard pill to swallow because we're trained to believe that success requires constant effort and monitoring. But money is one of the few areas in life where doing less strategically beats doing more anxiously. Your job isn't to know where every dollar went last month. Your job is to design a system where dollars automatically go to the right places, and then get out of the way and let compound interest do what compound interest does. The invisible habits holding you back aren't about what you're doing wrong with money. They're about what you're doing instead of the right things. Every hour you spend color-coding budget categories is an hour you didn't spend asking for a raise. Every time you check your investment account and feel anxiety, you're training your brain to see investing as stressful instead of automatic. Every day you delay implementing a simple system because you're still researching the perfect system. You're losing compound growth you can never get back. Stop tracking, start automating. Stop researching, start implementing. Stop optimizing, start earning. The wealth you're chasing isn't hidden in some complex strategy you haven't discovered yet. It's sitting right in front of you, waiting for you to do the simple things consistently instead of the complicated things perfectly. Your future self isn't going to thank you for knowing exactly how much you spent on groceries in March 2025. But they're definitely going to thank you for setting up that automatic investment contribution today. Even if it's imperfect, even if it's just $100 a month, even if you haven't finished researching every possible option. The best financial habit isn't a habit at all. It's making one good decision, automating it, and then forgetting about it so you can focus on living your life instead of managing every dollar of it. Your money should work for you in the background, not demand your constant attention in the